Mission presents The Story of Matthew by Helen Jeffrey. Episode 10, Freely Forgive.
Oh, it's hot here. Thank goodness not far to go now.
Oh, it's always like this. We might stay in Jericho tonight.
Oh, I hope so. The next bit of road between Jericho and Jerusalem is very dangerous.
But could Jesus not protect us against robbers? A man who can still a storm.
Far more sensible to wait for daylight. 12 of us should be a match for any robbers. But I expect that we'll meet some beggars, cripples, and of course Jesus will stop and we'll be late getting into the city and we'll spend another cold night by the roadside. It gets really freezing at night.
What's wrong with you, Judas?
It's always something. We never do anything the way we plan. Delays, people make demands. I get fed up with the whole thing.
But it is wonderful to see people healed.
You talk as if Jesus is going to spend his life just going about the roads and cities healing people.
Teaching them about God too, Judas. Don't forget that.
Yes, well, what about the glorious kingdom? He was talking about it only yesterday. And we're to sit on 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. It's time Jesus was taking some positive steps to bring in that kingdom.
Maybe.
Good morning, Anna. Early as usual.
If I came late to market, all the best goods would be gone.
And I have some fine fish here today.
Those? Do you take me for a fool? Those are yesterday's fish. I can tell by their dull eyes.
I'll give them to you cheap.
Cheap? I'm not interested. If they're not fresh, I don't want them. Only the best is good enough for Matthew's household.
Then try these, Anna. These are the best. On my life.
So you say. I'll see what they have at Jacob's stall.
Anna!
Mistress Alphaeus!
Stop a moment, Anna, please.
Anna, look at these fish. They're really fresh.
Phew, if that's fresh, then my nose has stopped working. Since when have you wanted to speak to me, mistress?
Tell me about Matthew and Raybeth. Are they well?
Why do you ask?
Anna, tell me. Please tell me. I'm their mother.
Oh, so you've remembered. But it's hard for me to forget the tears I've seen Raybeth shed when you passed her in the street like a stranger.
Oh, Anna, please have mercy. I couldn't help it. My husband, Alphaeus, he's a hard man.
Maybe. But it looked to me as if his wife was a hard woman.
I know. I was then. But Anna, I've changed.
Oh?
I've been listening to Jesus. He teaches we should love and forgive.
I haven't heard him, though Matthew talks enough about him.
I heard Matthew is one of his followers. Is that true? What's happening to Raybeth then?
Oh, they're both all right. Now, please, let me pass. I came early to do my shopping. I can't stand around and gossip.
But Anna, please. What is happening to Raybeth? Anna, stop.
Well, Matthew, getting very pally with Andrew and James these days? I hope you're not the kind of chap that turns his back on old friends. We're in this together, you know.
James is my brother, Judas.
Ah, of course, I forgot. You're so very different somehow. I'd never think
We've
that...
been separated for years by a family quarrel.
But now you've come together. Decided to forgive and forget? Quite right.
Jesus talks so much about forgiving, doesn't he? There was that story he told the other day.
The kingdom of heaven is like a king who decided to settle accounts with all his attendants. When he began the reckoning, one man was brought to him who owed him 10 million silver pieces. As the man could not pay, the king ordered that his possessions should be sold and that he and his wife and children should be sold into slavery to pay off the debt. So the attendant fell on his knees and begged the king, "Have patience with me," he said, "and I will pay you everything." The king was moved with pity and ordered that he be set free and the debt be cancelled. forgiven. As he was leaving the king's presence, the man met a fellow attendant who owed him 20 silver pieces. Catching him by the throat, he cried, "Pay me what you owe." So his fellow attendant fell on his knees and begged him, "Give me time, and I promise I'll pay you everything." But the king's servant wouldn't agree. He went out and he had the man put in prison till he should pay the debt. The other attendants saw what had happened. They were upset and went to the king and told him. And then the king called the attendant and said to him, "You contemptible and wicked servant, I forgave that great debt of yours because you begged me. So should you not have pity and mercy on your fellow attendant, even as I had pity on you?" The king was very angry and turned him over to the jailers until he could pay all that he owed.
And what exactly are you suggesting Jesus was teaching from that story?
Well, he told us, Judas. He said his heavenly Father will deal the same way with us if we don't freely forgive our brothers.
Meaning what?
Meaning God will not forgive us our big debt to him if we don't forgive our brothers their little debts to us.
Harsh words, Matthew. So you thought you'd better make it up with James?
When I thought about it, he hadn't really done me much harm. He was only doing what he thought was right when he joined the rest of the family in disowning me. And Raybeth, because I was a tax gatherer.
Oh, I don't know how you remember all this, Matthew.
I take notes, Judas, just short notes. Then when I go home, I write everything down.
And you hope it will be useful someday?
I think it's already useful. Raybeth has read what I've written.
Raybeth. What sort of ideas will she be getting into her lovely little head?
Judas?
I know.
Matthew! Matthew! Can it really be Matthew?
Who's calling me? Who do I know in Jericho?
Matthew, how are you? It's so long since I've seen you.
Zacchaeus! How's business? Do you still prosper?
Well, what about you? And why are you down here in Jericho? Surely you haven't been transferred.
Not transferred from one tax office to another. I've given up tax gathering.
Given it up? Why?
I'm a follower of Jesus now, Zacchaeus.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I've heard of him.
He's a great teacher.
He must be that and more. If you've given up a good tax gatherer's job because of him.
I've lived with him now for more than 2 years. It's been the greatest 2 years of my life.
But why, Matthew? What has made those years so special?
I've learnt so much.
Well, such as?
That God cares even about tax gatherers, that he's willing to accept them into his kingdom.
Well, that certainly is new. But how does Jesus know so much about God? He's not a priest or a Pharisee, is he?
Certainly not.
Well, how does he know all this?
Because God is his Father.
God is what? What are you saying, Matthew?
Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, deliverer of Israel.
Be careful, Matthew. Look, if people hear you, what makes you think it?
He says so himself.
That doesn't prove anything. Anybody could say that.
Could they? Could you?
Well, I wouldn't want to.
No. If the priests and Pharisees didn't kill you, I expect God would strike you dead. Anyway, Zacchaeus, he is God's promised deliverer and prince. The prophecies of the scriptures tell all about him. He fulfills them.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that. I haven't read or listened to the scriptures since my school days.
Well, tell me, Zacchaeus, have you peace in your heart?
Peace? Forgiveness? What strange things you talk about, Matthew.
You could have them too.
But I don't believe all this about Jesus. How could I have peace?
Why don't you come and listen to him himself?
I don't know. I'm very busy these days.
You've time to learn about peace and forgiveness, surely. Come with me. I'll show you where we're staying.
Anna! Oh, Anna! You've been away such a long time. What happened?
Nothing, Miss Raybeth. The market was busy.
What news did you hear?
Nothing.
Didn't you see anybody you knew?
I heard that one of the candle maker's children has the fever.
No news of Jesus?
Oh, him? Oh, no, none.
If he came back here, he could help that child.
Now, Miss Raybeth, it's my belief it's not Jesus you're interested in, but the men with him.
What? My brother...
And it's not your brother you're concerned about either. It's that good-for-nothing Judean man.
Anna, how dare you?
He's not your sort, and you can't see it. Oh, why am I left with all the responsibility of a rebel like you?
A rebel? Am I a rebel, Anna? Am I a bother to you? I thought that...
You thought I loved you, Rabeth. And so I do. But sometimes...
And you didn't see anyone else you knew?
Oh, look, let's have a cool drink. I am so hot.
You did see someone, but you're not going to tell me. Was it Matthew?
No.
Judas?
No. Now leave me alone, please.
Must have been my mother. Then I'm not surprised you're rather cross. I wonder what there is about me that made my life go all wrong.
Now, Rabeth.
Other girls' mothers don't turn against them. Why me?
But I love you, Rabeth.
I know, Anna. Oh, dear Anna. What would I do without you? But sometimes I think things will never turn out right for me.
I met a man I knew this morning, Judas.
In Jericho, Matthew?
Yes, a tax contractor in this area. Zacchaeus, his name is. He used to be up in Galilee.
What fine friends you have, Matthew.
I know. In the old days, people like you wouldn't have spoken to me.
I never thought I'd see the day that I'd be glad of the friendship of a tax collector. But I was truly glad when you joined the band. A change from all these fishermen.
I was telling Zacchaeus about Jesus. He said he'd try and get to hear him teaching one day.
Well, he's lost his chance. We're on our way out of Jericho now.
What's going on?
Come and see this. Come on.
Well, what is it, Andrew? Why are all the crowd laughing?
There's a man up that tree. See, look, the branches are shaking.
Man, what's he doing there?
Oh, that's right. I saw him scuttling along in front of us and then he scrambled up. He's a tiny little fellow.
He seems to be someone important. The crowd think it's the greatest joke. They're actually falling about laughing.
A little man? It could be Zacchaeus. Well, I suppose that's the only way he could get to see Jesus. There's always such a crowd.
I wonder what Jesus will do when he gets to the tree.
Zacchaeus! Hello there, Zacchaeus. Hurry, come down. I'm going to spend the day at your house.
You're coming to my house, Master? Oh, thank you. You'll be very welcome, guest. Very welcome indeed.
Now look what you've done, Matthew.
What's wrong, Judas? Zacchaeus needs peace and forgiveness too.
More delays. We're going up to Jerusalem for the feast, aren't we?
But there's plenty of time.
Is there? Jesus keeps talking about being seized and ill-treated by the religious leaders and the Romans.
Do you want them to hurry there to be seized, Judas? They won't seize him till after the feast. There'll be far too many people packed into the city, all ready to flare up. Think of all the Galileans.
I know. That's why I think we should get there quickly. If Jesus is going to declare himself and set up his kingdom, there couldn't be a better time.
Now? Oh, but Judas...
Afraid, are you? Got cold feet? Hang on, Matthew. The 12 of us are going to be needed when all this breaks. You mark my words.
In Matthew by Helen Jeffrey, Matthew was played by Mark Claney, Rabeth by Lauren Hutchison, and Anna by Jenny Erskine. Judas was played by John Lander, Jesus by Paul Bailey, and Andrew by Mark Smith. Other parts were played by members of the Commission drama team. The play was produced in Commission Studios in Belfast by Colin Flanagan. Episode 11 is entitled Hosanna to the King.